Financial experts always say to avoid tapping into your 401k at all costs, but sometimes, especially in an emergency, it actually makes sense. Joining us to discuss is Craig Bolanos, co-founder and wealth advisor of VestGen Wealth Partners in Inverness and Downers Grove. Craig, thank you for joining us today. And tapping into your 401k before you retire is in an emergency break class type of situation. What situations necessitate tapping into your 401k, and what are some things that you can do to avoid reaching that break glass situation?
Well, Rob, you're exactly right. I think we need to start by defining what an emergency is not. It is not an emergency that you buy a new sports car and access your 401k. It is not an emergency that you go and rob your 401k to pay for your child's higher education. Again, we can borrow money in all sorts of ways, but I've yet to see someone get a loan for retirement. So what should we do? If we're drowning in double-digit interest rates on our credit cards, a 401k loan probably makes sense. If we're on the cusp of having an eviction or having some other issue that came out of left field that has that gravity, a 401k loan makes sense. But far too many people are abusing 401k loans to handle wants versus tackling emergency needs.
Now, when we talk about a 401k loan, are we talking about borrowing directly from your retirement account, or is it a loan from a third party that is backed up with your 401k as collateral?
Rob, you're exactly right. A 401k loan is something that you're going to navigate and access directly through your 401k provider, your workplace retirement plan. You're essentially borrowing from yourself. The 401k plan is just doing the administration. And the benefit of borrowing from a 401k loan is you're not receiving taxable income today. But remember, borrowing from a 401k means you have to make sure you repay that loan typically over 5 years. So I always remind people, if we need to borrow, understand that money's going to have to get paid back, meaning your paycheck is going to go down. Your take-home pay is going to go down as you repay that loan to yourself.
Now, what happens if you lose your job during that repayment period?
Well, one of the reasons that people shouldn't borrow is if you're in an industry or a business that your employment might not be durable, it's time not to take a loan, because many 401k providers require you, if you separate from service from the company, to repay the entirety of the loan within a 90-day period. So, Rob, if someone goes and takes out the maximum 401k loan, which is 50% of value up to $50,000, it'd be quite punitive to have to pay back the full $50,000 in 90 days for many people, don't you think?
Now, if some people are in an emergency and they don't have access to credit, or their credit is poor and they are facing the possibility of borrowing money at an incredibly high interest rate or an elevated interest rate, when does borrowing money, even with a higher interest rate, make sense when stacked up against that 401k withdrawal that comes with penalties and the 10% income tax payment?
Well, again, the whole benefit here is this. I do not, and I repeat, do not want people to take a taxable distribution from their 401k where they have to pay taxes and pay a 10% premature distribution penalty. What I do want people to do is, if you have credit card debt and you're waking up every single month with a financial hangover and you've got double-digit interest rates on your credit card, do structure a proper 401k loan and then repeat after me, thou shall never, ever, ever carry a credit card balance thereafter. That's the strategy that Americans should be deploying for 401k loans relative to credit card debt.
Craig Bolanos, thank you for joining us today. Co-founder and wealth advisor, VestGen Wealth Partners, Inverness and Downers Grove. Find them online at getretiredstayretired.com. It's 12:40.